The first step to making this product is to add the egg whites to the mixer, and using the whisk attachment, start whisking. Once you've successfully whisked it to a froth, you can then add in the sugar. Add in the sugar while the mixer is still on and it's still mixing. Add it all at one time, gradually like this, and keep mixing till it gets really frothy and it forms a really stiff peak meringue. So basically you need to keep whisking this at the speed number 8 or any fast speed so that it forms a stiff peak meringue. You got to keep doing that, keep whisking it. Once it's nice and thick, it will be ready to take out. At the same time, to check it, you can see that when you lift the bowl, it will not leave the bowl, it will stay in the bowl, and that's a very good tell that the stiff peak meringue is ready. So once your meringue is ready, you need to then take it out of the bowl, put it directly into your bowl which contains all the dry ingredients, that's the icing sugar and the almond flour, and cut and fold. So you need to do 12 turns. 12 turns is the idyllic amount of turns you need to do to get this well mixed. So I'm going to start doing this, and yeah, it's going to take some time, but yes, we'll keep going. But don't get very agitated with this. Do it very gently and with a great amount of love, because this product, all the air that you've incorporated into the meringue, that needs to be you need to be able to do it without deflating it. So here this is almost ready. We've been done about 12 turns now. Once it's done about 12 turns, you can then check it once. So a few additional turns, and then you can, once the batter is well mixed, you notice that the batter doesn't have any lumps, or in general it's a very smooth batter. So you can then pour it into your oil tin. So this tin is basically a pastry ring which has got the silver foil at the bottom and oil which has been brushed onto it, sides and bottom. So I'm just going to pour this entire batter there. Very gently pour all the batter, and you need to just kind of flatten the batter out into in the ring, so you get a nice round shape. Now you got to keep in mind that you need to flatten this well. At this stage, what I'm going to do next is do the crunch, which is basically the caramelized nuts. We're going to caramelize them with cashew nuts in there. So that's a broken cashew nut that we've got there. Now we're using broken cashew nuts because it's cheaper to use, and you don't have to waste time chopping it. It comes like that. And we've got some icing sugar that is pre-sifted. We're going to be heating the nuts and roasting them a little bit so that they give out all that excess moisture and excess oil, and it doesn't cause the caramelized nut to get rancid or get soggy very fast. So I'm just going to let this heat up on a medium heat. It needs a little bit of time, and you cannot hurry this, but you need to keep achieving like a regular keep turning it, keep mixing it from now and then. And so you just need to be able to roast them till they've got some amount of caramelization on the nut and it's dried up a little bit. You can also do this by putting it inside the oven at 150 degrees for about 10 minutes. That will also give you a little bit of browning. So this is getting there. Yeah, it's almost there now. So this takes a bit of time, but be patient with it and you should be able to achieve this. The next step on this is basically to add the icing sugar. So the icing sugar needs to go in, you can't add it all at one time, and you cannot add it in when the nuts are still still moist. So you see that bit of caramelization that's happened on the nut. It's roasted a little bit, it's got a little bit of browning on one side. That's very, very good for the nut, so that it dries out very well. You can also get a little bit of heat that you feel onto this on the pan, and that's going to help caramelize the icing sugar fast. So you don't want the pan to be cold when you add the icing sugar. You want it to be to be hot enough to caramelize it immediately, and that quick caramelization is then going to stick onto the warm nut, and that is going to help you to kind of do this really quickly. So half of the icing sugar, and you start to mix that up. let it caramelize. It'll take a bit of a time. It depends on how much heat is there in your pan and how fast or how high your flame is. But always try to keep it on a low flame. Do not increase the heat unnecessarily. You need to just ensure that it's caramelizing, and it is caramelizing. So you notice that it's caramelizing in the center there. That's one of the biggest plus points of this. So this is done. Once the caramelization is done, I'm going to add in the butter. So I've added in all the icing sugar, all the butter, and I'm just going to cook this off till the butter is completely done, and the nuts are completely roasted in this, and literally it's seared in the icing sugar, so that this nut is then going to be very crunchy for a longer amount of time. This is done. Don't mind if it falls off like that. Just put it back again. I mean, it's really fun to do and really easy caramelization system. You don't want to make a caramel and then put each and every nut in that, move it around and then get it out and then individually cool it off. This you can just do it. It's very simple. It's a simple technique. And that leftover butter which is there, after you spread this on top of a silpat like that to allow it to cool faster, all that leftover butter can be reused for the next batch of caramelization. So you don't have to throw it away. It can be reused again. So we'll keep it in the container and we'll reuse it for the next. This, however, is done. These nuts are done. We're just microwaving some chocolate. So I'm using chocolate compound. Now I'm going to microwave this for 30 seconds into 2 blasts. That's 1 minute. That's really well melted. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to make some of the scrapes. Now I wanted to do the scrapes because I wanted to show you how to do it. It's a really simple technique. Have a clean table. Once your table is well cleaned, you can pour all your chocolate there. Either you can put it all at one time or in intervals, depends on the way you are comfortable. Spread it out really well. To do this, you need to ensure that your table is well cleaned and also cold. So this chocolate needs to set. It can't afford to be on a hot table. In case you do not have a cold kitchen, you can purchase a slab of granite and you can cool it with some ice, or you can leave it in the AC room to cool. So once it's half set, you can simply scrape it out like that. I mean, you just want to get scrapes, keep scraping it out like that. So this will give you cigars. The parts which are very difficult, or the parts which have really cooled down a lot and have completely solidified, that will give you rough scrapes. The ones that have not solidified will give you a cigar. So you can, we don't really need a cigar for this, but with one particular kind of design, one particular kind of chocolate garnish, we could achieve two types of decorations. So why not? And reserve all of that on a nice clean tray. So when it's on a nice clean tray, you can store it inside the fridge. Never use garnishes directly. You can always store them on this tray for posterity as well, future use. At the moment, we're going to refrigerate this for about 10 to 15 minutes so it solidifies. Whatever's left over, I'm just trying to use up whatever chocolate is there. Use up everything. Don't waste. That goes back in the chiller. Now we're going to do the assembly of the chocolate delis. We've got these sponges that have come out. I am going to reduce the sponge by pressing it down with a half kilo ring. That's going to be roughly a 7-inch diameter ring and which has a depth of 2 inches. So that's 7-inch diameter ring and 2-inch depth. This leftover can be used to make cake pops. It doesn't have to be discarded. At the same time, you want to ensure that the ring that you're using also has a silver foil bottom, so that whatever you build inside the ring doesn't pop out. You can also use a cling film to line the bottom as well. So this is basically, you just pad in your pad it in like that. Yes, you just lift this off, remove that. We need to just cut this down to size. So when you invert it like that and you take off the aluminum foil, you notice how cleanly it comes off. That's because of the oil that we had put there. We've cut it and now we're going to layer it with some ganache. Now you notice that I'm not putting any sugar syrup because there's no flour in this recipe, so it's not going to absorb any sugar syrup, so it doesn't require it. So you can immediately go with the ganache. So I'm not using any fancy gadgets or any tools or anything. It's just a spoon and a ring, and I'm just going to layer this ganache completely in there. You can use how much you want. The reason I'm using a plastic bowl is because it's easy for me to microwave the ganache again and again if it starts setting in the AC room. A little bit of berry filling. Now this is a strawberry filling. If you have raspberry, you can use raspberry filling as well. Just spread it around. It gives you a little bit of acidity that you require in this dessert. Otherwise it just gets too sweet, so you need a little bit of acidity. You can then sprinkle the caramelized nuts that you had made earlier. Just sprinkle them, just crush them in your hand, roughly sprinkle them around. A lot of people ask me this time, why don't you use hand gloves? I mean, we keep washing our hands like multiple times, so really hand gloves is something that is very uncomfortable, and then we kind of get complacent not to wash our hands, so we always prefer washing our hands than using hand gloves. Yep, just place it in. Now this basically goes bottom side up. So basically the side which is facing up will be facing upwards when you do the remaining layer as well. Again, no sugar syrup, simply layer it with the remaining ganache. So this is a rustic looking cake, so I'm not going to give it any kind of a smooth finish. It's going to be a rustic finish, and that rustic finish is required so that you can then add to the appeal of the cake. So it looks like a handmade cake. It's got a little bit of a naked feeling. And today, at the end of the day, you don't want to eat too much of decoration. You want to reserve your calorie count for the cake. So it's very important that you do your proportioning very well. And I mean, it'll still look like a very good cake, but you don't have to waste a lot of time into the decoration of it. That's brilliant. Nice. Just spread that remaining berry out as well, so that you get 2 even layers of the same filling, chocolate and berry. So here I've used a compound chocolate. You can also use a couverture chocolate. I mean, it depends on you. Depends on how fast you want the product to set. Simply using a offset spatula like this, you just smoothen it out the best you can. Smoothen out the best way you can do it, and try your level best to kind of maintain some level of professionalism. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, and I didn't want to achieve any perfection here, but some amount of perfection always goes a long way. So at least the sides you can get done very cleanly like this. Smoothen the sides out so that you get a decent looking end result. Yep, that's done. And after this is done, I'm going to pop this inside the fridge for about an hour. If you're doing this in a hurry, then you can put it inside the freezer for about 30 minutes, and it sets really fast. Yep, that goes. We're going to put this inside the fridge. Let that go in there. Make sure that when you take it out, make sure you scrape the sides off like this. It takes a little bit of artistry and a little bit of delicate hands to do that. So you don't want to do this in a hurry. Take off all that aluminium foil. Take off all the the reason I use aluminium foil is because aluminium foil is very visible. So with cling film, what happens is sometimes if a piece of it gets stuck in there, you'll never see it. With aluminium foil, you can take it off. It's very easy. It's very visible to the eyes, and you can just slide it off. It's quite easy to get rid of it. So yeah, that's that. We've gotten rid of the aluminium foils out, and now we'll just place in the center and take the ring out as well. Ta-da! That's done. So that's now basically your simple cake is ready. Like a nice elegant looking touch to it. It's got a very rustic looking feel. So what I'm going to do now is just decorate this. So this is basically done, and we need to now decorate this. So to decorate, we're going to take back, take the chocolate shavings and the cigars out of the fridge, and we're going to crush it on top. So that's there. We're going to just start crushing. I mean, you can do any kind of a design here. You can put more berry filling if you want. You can you can add like I'm just going to crush some chocolate on top of this, so it looks nice and rustic, and it gives it a real raw finish. So that's basically it simplifies your although it looks really elegant, it simplifies your baking experience. So it doesn't make it seem very tedious and very time consuming. You can go creative with the garnishes. Use whichever garnish you want. There isn't any particular way to garnish this, but use up all your elements. So we have the crunch element as well, so we're going to add the crunch element after the chocolate shavings have been put on top. That's really it. I mean, I can't tell you how nice it smells just by putting the, when I'm putting the chocolate on top, it's just smelling so divine. Yep, add in the dot it a little bit here and there with these caramelized nuts. You can just go crazy. I mean, you put how much ever you want. There's not any specific limit, and I'm just trying to be a little organized here, but that's just the chef in me that makes me want to feel organized. But you can just go crazy, just throw them on there, just throw them around, and that's it. Just a touch of icing sugar and your cake is good to go. Amazing.